I'm Izzy Massaroni, and for my Microculture Share and Tell, I will be discussing camping and hiking. So a little background, I have been camping since I was 2. My family has been going to the Adirondacks for about 5 generations, which I find really cool. So we know the area pretty well. We like to tent camp at a campground named Rollins Pond. It's about a half hour north of Lake Placid, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. It was the Miracle on Ice place way back in the 80s. So I also like to hike a lot of the Adirondack Mountains. I one day want to complete the 46ers Challenge, which I go to all the different high peaks of everything in the Adirondacks, and once I complete it, I ring the bell in Saranac Lake, and after that, I get a badge, and my name goes in this list, and it's just more of like a self-rewarding thing. But I hope one day that I can complete the Mount Marcy Challenge, and it is the highest peak in the Adirondacks, but the walk itself is about 9 miles long. And that's just to the base of the mountain. That's not even the mountain yet. And it's the highest peak, so obviously it is very, very high. It's going to take a lot of exercising and work to actually work up to that part, but it's definitely something that I want to do. Moving on. I believe that what I do is a microculture because we use a lot of different phrases, we use a lot of different skills for certain things. For example, setting up tents, starting fires, knowing what to do if your kayak tips over, which is something that can happen to you. It's very dangerous as well. A lot of the times people don't know what to do, and the floor of a pond is very mucky and very sticky, so if your foot gets stuck in that muck, it will pull you under and you will drown. So it's kind of like you need to have information about what to do in those situations, because that will save you from life or death. Also, what to do when there's a massive thunderstorm coming and all you have is a tent to protect you. You need to be able to hold down the fort and know what to do in that time as well. Along the lines of hiking, you need to know how to distinguish different animal noises, what's threatening, what's not threatening, different types of plants that are either poisonous, not poisonous, what to do if someone falls behind in your group, also what to do if, say, you have the wrong footing when you are hiking or rock climbing and you break your leg. You need to be able to splint that, which you take 2 very sturdy twigs that you need to find. You rip off 2 pieces of clothing long enough that you can tie around the person's leg. So you put the sticks on either side of their leg. You tie the 2 strings around of it, and you tie them tight also because you don't want the sticks to be loose or moving around either, because that will cause more damage to the person rather than helping them. So after that, you need to get them immediately down the mountain, but you have to help them or carry them down the mountain because they cannot put that much pressure on their leg. So things like that, you need to understand what to do, because they're very important things, in which a lot of people that don't go camping or don't go hiking don't know these things, and then they try it and they end up getting hurt or something more serious. I believe that this microculture has different communication skills than everybody else, because you need to know what to do if someone falls behind. One of the things that I like to do is make sure everyone has a phrase, because there are other trekkers, there are other people out there, that may be able to help, but, they also are doing their own thing also. So, you need to be able to shout to somebody and measure the distance and how far they are from you. Some people like to stop, look at different plants, look at different animals that come on their trail, and you want to keep going. Just make sure that every once in a while you're calling back to the rest of your group so you know how far they are from you. And if you stop hearing them, then you need to stop and you need to go back and you need to find them. Also, the equipment that we use, a lot of people don't understand the different phrases for that and the different meanings for them either. It's something that you definitely need to learn once you become like an avid camper. One of the phrases, for example, that we use is called portage, and that means we are carrying these canoes or these kayaks along a giant spit of land. So, for example, I like to take my friends and everybody that I take camping with me on about a 5-mile kayak trek called like the circuit. We call it the circuit. Basically, we twice have to portage where we carry for a quarter mile our kayaks and canoes over this terrain that is more of like a mini hike almost, where it's very hilly, very up and down. You need to make sure people are okay and safe when they are moving their kayaks, but it is something that's common. A lot of people don't like to go that far as to do the portage, but I think it's worth it to go to the next body of water. It's just a small stretch, you gotta push through it, but some people do not want to. But things like that, you need to know when you go camping. One of the things also you need to know when you go camping is how to streamline a lot of your things. You are bringing one vehicle, you are bringing your clothes, which I suggest putting them into a bin, because if your tent floods or something happens, at least your clothes are dry and you have dry clothes to change into. You need to bring food for that week, because the closest thing is going to be about a half hour away, which is very inconvenient when you're there to be doing a lot of different activities. You can't be going and traveling far distances to go pick up all these things. And even so, the closest thing normally just has a little bit of everything to help people. It's not really a grocery store. There's no food chains around. It's just that. You need to make sure that you have your kayaks, all your life vests, bug spray, anything that you'll need, mace, stuff like that, which you need to make sure you're packing all of it. But you also have to be able to store all of your stuff in your car, like your trash and your recycling, because you can't leave those things out. Bears will come and they will attack you if you leave those things out, because they smell this food, they smell all this different stuff, and they want to come and check it out, which actually leads me into my fun facts. So one of the fun facts is, contrary to popular belief, there is not as many bears as people think that there are around Rawlins. They're more upstate. They're more deep into the woods, where people don't camp on campgrounds. They camp just where they are. You walk into the woods, you hike this amount of miles, and you set up camp right there. That is the more dangerous parts. But, fun fact, they are not as popular as people think they are. You are more likely to run into some chipmunks or some squirrels than you are to run into a bear. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. The only time that I had ever seen a bear was many, many, many years ago. I was very young, and the neighbors across from us didn't put their trash away or their food away before they went to bed. And a bear came and went and sniffed around. He wasn't out to attack anybody, but he smelled the food. And they, in a panic, kind of just started banging pots and pans to get the bear to leave them. And it ended up running through our campsite and trampling over my kayak, and then right into the woods. And that was the last time that I had ever seen a bear. So they are not as popular as everybody thinks. Another fun fact, camping is an amazing source to relieve stress, to relieve anxiety. I know a lot of people that have anxiety that come with me and really love how relaxed and the fresh air, and it's away from the internet, and you kind of just get some time for yourself. And a lot of people have noticed that their anxiety plummets when they're there, which is awesome. I also feel it myself, but it's just nice to know that there is a place to go and relax without any source of internet or people bothering you or anything. Your work can't find you there either, which is nice too. Another fun fact, you can measure the temperature by crickets. So you listen for 14 seconds. All the amount of crickets that you hear, you count them up. And then once the 14 seconds is done, you add 40 to that, and it'll give you the temperature. I've done it quite a few times. It's not exact. It's not going to give you the exact temperature, but it is ballpark area, and it is pretty accurate, actually. And I find that kind of amazing. Another fun fact is the stillness that comes with camping. A lot of people think that when you're camping, there's a lot of noise going on, and there's a lot of crickets and animal noises and loons and all of that. And honestly, it's not that bad. It's very still. It's very calm. There's not a lot of noise. It's almost, people have a hard time falling asleep because they're so used to falling asleep to like a whole bunch of noise, coming from Jersey or, the city or something like that. But, you go out there and it's nothing, absolutely nothing. And it's almost amazing to be able to just hear yourself think. It's really cool. Another fun fact, since there is no light pollution there, you are able to see the Milky Way, which is pretty cool. It's faint, but it's pretty cool, and you can see a whole bunch of constellations. You see Saturn, you see Venus, you see a whole bunch of different planets. It's very awesome. It's nice to be able to get away from all of that and be able to just look up and just see a whole bunch of stars. It's amazing. And one more fun fact. You are more likely to die from eating something that you're not supposed to eat, like a plant, or falling over your kayak and not being able to swim ashore, than you are to die from an animal attack. Everybody thinks that, oh, you're going to get attacked by a bear, or you're going to get attacked by a mountain lion, when honestly that is never really the case. Most people die just from not knowing what they're doing there, getting lost on a hike, and you don't know how to find your way down. So it's not an animal attack. Anyway, that was my microculture share and tell. Now, if anybody has any questions, would like to know where I go hiking, any of the gear that I use, the kayak type that I have, or anything, or is interested in the Adirondacks at all, or any of the mountains, or hiking any of them, feel free to ask me, or look it up, or I can give you some campgrounds to go to. It's honestly something that I would suggest anybody go and see and try. It's very relaxing, very nice, and it's just nice to get out there once in a while and away from everything. And it really is just one of the best places to be. So if you have the time, check it out. So thank you guys for listening, and I look forward to your questions.